Highway 152. So Sayre, Hext, I know we are some communities that quickly went into a tornado shelter as the storm quickly moved into town. It is now north of you, so even Hext and anyone right along I-40, you can come out of your tornado shelter. Jonathan, as you put on a storm track up to the north with a little bit of a slower storm speed now, puts it into New Liberty now at 8:37, so that's a 7-minute increase in time. We always talk about the tornado warnings and how much lead time you have. This tornado warning went up at about 8 o'clock, so New Liberty, 37-minute lead time with this storm as it continues to approach you. But I know the rain's starting to come down, and so is the large damaging hail that's associated with this system. Jonathan, once again, as we know out here this time of the year, that low-level jet can really begin to increase. That can certainly keep the rotation alive. But even as we look at the much bigger picture out of this, this looks like we might be starting to see somewhat of a larger complex that is now developing, and so this storm will probably get wrapped into that and impact northwestern Oklahoma.
Yeah, so it's a discrete storm, and one thing that we're seeing right now when I look at some of the winds at the surface, Damon, they're almost out of the east. That really induces or increases what we call a low-level shear, which helps with tornado genesis, okay? So that's one thing we have to be careful of. These discrete storms, they draw in all the moisture. The winds are out of the southeast. Again, that helps the low-level rotation, and that's why we really have to watch it. The storm, again, just to the northeast of Sayre. So back to the west, where we would expect, you know, kind of the tail end of it, the storm, where the tornado would form, we have Jeremy Carter and Chance Coldiron. Chance, we're plotting you on First Alert Doppler 3D so everybody can see where you are into reference of the storm. You're on the southwest part of the storm. What do you see right now? Do you have a funnel? How's wall cloud looking? I know it's getting dark. What can you tell us?
Hey, Jonathan, that wall cloud pretty much went away. The storm tried to hook back up there again, but it's just a real smooth base. Not much precip falling out of it right now. It's getting dark, so it's hard to see directly underneath these cloud bases, but I don't have anything on the ground or anything that looks like it's anywhere close to producing another tornado. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Chance. So Chance, again, is near the town of New Liberty. There's his live stream. It's getting dark, but as he said, not a lot of rotation with the storm right now. But again, we have two storm chasers on it as this storm travels to the north towards New Liberty and eventually moves up towards Berlin and Rose Hill. Again, we have our two storm chasers on that storm. On the bigger picture, we can switch over, kind of give everyone kind of a wide view here. Let's give everyone a frame of reference. So you have Oklahoma City on the right-hand side. These storms are a long ways away. They're about 100 miles away, and they're tracking right now to the north at about 20 to 30 miles an hour. And again, lots of heavy rain in western Oklahoma. It doesn't look like there's anything building back to the south, not quite yet. But again, that single cell near Elk City and Sayre traveling to the north still has that tornado warning, maybe for about another minute, Dame. That was issued until 8:30, so we have about 1 minute left in this warning.
1 minute left on the warning, and you can see what we have here is all these storms up to the north. The atmosphere is getting a little worked over across western Oklahoma with all this activity that you see from Buffalo, Woodward, and as you make your way down near Sweetwater, Oklahoma. But even as we've mentioned, these storms, they can certainly cycle. And so while, as Chance just mentioned, the tornado threat, it looks like from his vantage point, not nearly as intense as it was about 20, 30 minutes ago. And you can see now the warning is no longer in effect. Still treat this as a very serious situation. As we know out here in Oklahoma, certainly tornadoes can quickly pop up just like that. And so as these storms move in, once you start to hear that rain and the wind, go ahead and just get away from your windows. Again, just get away from your windows. But the tornado, this was a very serious tornado that we had that was at one point just outside of Sayre. The video of this tornado was impressive. You know, certainly this time of the year as the sun is setting, we can see we begin to lose a little bit of visibility. But when we had the video of that tornado, and here it is right here, that is a very large tornado. This is looking a couple miles away from the north looking down to the south. So we're dealing with all this rain, but you can still see the tornado through the curtains of rain. So this is earlier. I want to make sure everyone knows this is from earlier as Chance Coldiron was coming up on this storm. This is moving up to the north, and a very unusual unusual type of storm out here because we know that a lot of times the tornadoes, especially the strong ones like this one right here, they want to move more to the east. They want to move more to the east. And so certainly this was a very unusual tornado. But then again, out here in Oklahoma, we know that our weather is always going to be unusual, and not every tornado is going to go according to textbook. So again, this is that tornado that we had earlier, a very large tornado, and I know that there's going to be some damage on the ground with this storm, especially even if it doesn't hit a town. We know there are power lines. I'm sure there are going to be some power outages out across western Oklahoma. So this storm right here, certainly one that was quite large. And Jonathan, I want to say right now that the last time we probably saw a tornado this large out in Oklahoma, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen a tornado this big. But this was a very serious tornado. And even now, with this severe thunderstorm warning, I would still watch out with these storms moving up to the north. So basically, from Elk City, Leedy, Cheyenne, Bisai, we've got lots of storms right now. There are going to be little embedded circulations within this entire cluster of storms. But this severe thunderstorm warning lasts until 8:45 for Beckham, Custer, Ellis, and Roger Mills. Again, it is going to be for this entire system right here. Still a tremendous amount of lightning within this. So, Jonathan, as we know, when you see this much lightning here within a storm, it's still packing quite a punch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing we want to do, so that one storm that was warned with a tornado warning for Sayre, that warning has been allowed to expire. So the next thing that we're going to have to do is still watch the storms back to the west. They're still going to have we still have a tornado threat here into the evening. Even though they're not discrete cells, it's kind of a line of storms here, we still have to watch for embedded circulations along the line. So as we go from about, let's get a little bit closer, from about Sweetwater and up to Roll, this area here, we're going to have to go ahead and watch for some embedded circulations as these storms move in, because there's still some pretty decent winds coming in from the southeast. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning, which continues until 8:45. That's going to be for about 7 more minutes here. Beckham, Custer, Ellis, Roger Mills, and this is going to be for large hail, likely for the size of golf balls, potentially some damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour. So again, we're watching those storms. We're going to watch for embedded circulations. The severe weather threat will continue into the evening, Damon.
Yeah, it certainly will continue into the evening as the environment is still going to be able to pack a punch. This is a very slow-moving storm system that we have. So what will happen later tonight is we're going to see basically another line of storms come in. Hey, Jonathan, as we mentioned right here, there's still plenty of rotation. We're going to see embedded circulations within this entire storm, but that's going to be another one right there that we're watching. This is going to be right on the state line. Texas, Oklahoma, northwest of Sweetwater, Oklahoma, just west of Highway 30. I'm watching this circulation pretty closely as well right now. You see all these inflow notches, as you mentioned, east wind. So what happens is when you see this, basically this C right here on the radar, that means you have winds kind of rushing in just like this. So just outside of Sweetwater, rotation more than likely is going to continue. And an environment, as we mentioned, is going to be elevated for tornado potential. As we said earlier, about 5 and 6 o'clock, it was going to be the counties right along the border that we were most concerned about as having the greatest tornado threat. So here's going to be some inflow within this storm. This is moving up to the northeast. It's a very large system. There's going to be some pretty strong winds. And the hail within this, hail is going to be, okay, tornado warning is now coming. They have a new tornado warning now coming for Roger Mills County. It's going to be for this right here, guys. It's going to be for this right here. So new tornado warning now coming in. And here it is right here. So we have a brand new tornado warning. Let me step off here and read the latest information. This is going to be moving, this is northwest of Sweetwater, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So we have a new tornado warning that was just issued for this, and it was going to be for this area right here, Jonathan, that we mentioned. We told you, just because one storm was dissipating doesn't mean that the threat is now over, and it looks like now velocity within this storm, so we're right on the state border here, just outside of Sweetwater. This looks even more impressive, Jonathan, than what we had even minutes ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Damon, that was the area of circulation we just pointed out just a moment ago. Just a moment ago. And this is, again, the new warning. Tracking to the northeast at about 20 miles an hour. This is going to be, let's get you kind of an exact distance. If you know where Sweetwater is, it's exactly 6 miles northwest of Sweetwater, Oklahoma, okay? And this is going to be tracking to the northeast at about 20 miles an hour. It will stay north of I-40, obviously. I'm going to broaden out here just so you can kind of get a frame of reference. There's the area of circulation. That's where the tornado would be going. It's going to be well north of I-40 by several miles, not several, literally about 20 miles. But again, that's a pretty tight area of rotation on radar there. And again, we'll kind of give people an idea of how far away the tornado is. We'll throw some storm tracks on. Again, so it's probably right about there, 6 miles northwest of Sweetwater, and about 8-9 miles to the southwest of Dempsey. So there's Highway 30, about 4 miles west of Highway 30 there.
Yeah, and this is, as we mentioned, I mean, it's basically kind of sounds like we keep saying the same thing over and over again, but we want you to know at home how serious these storms are. Again, this is that time of the night where the tornado threat was the highest, moving up to the northeast. We mentioned Raiden, we mentioned Rankin earlier in the evening when they had a tornado warning, so this is going to be just south, but this is now the third tornado warning that we've had this evening, putting a track up to the northeast. Dempsey, 904. Dempsey, you're headed into your tornado shelter. The storm is still about 20 miles away, but even Rankin and Raiden, as we know the behavior of these storms, how certainly they can kind of shift up and down. You're headed into your tornado shelter right now. Rankin, and Dempsey. Again, Raiden, and Dempsey within this tornado warning. So we're now watching the storms move out of Texas, now moving into Oklahoma, and even have some pretty large hail cores within this storm. So this is a brand new tornado warning, and this warning will go until, let's see here, until 9, would you say 9:15? Yeah, 9:15. There we go, 9:15 with this tornado warning moving up to the northeast. So again, Roger Mills County, 9:15, Sweetwater. This is likely going to stay just north of you, but certainly anyone right along State Highway 30, you're headed into your tornado shelter. We are now getting into the time of the evening where the sun is setting. It is getting much darker, and so the ability to see this is going to be very challenging. Jeremy Carter, we have him right now, and I want to look at Jeremy's picture as he is now headed up north on State Highway 30. You can see all the lightning within this storm, and so what we're going to have to do is with each lightning flash that we see, you're going to have to look for that lowering, that appendage. That's the only way that you're going to see this, or looking for power flashes. That's what we have to do this time of the evening, but we are near Sweetwater looking up to the north with this newest tornado warning that was just issued minutes ago. So this picture coming in from Jeremy Carter, he is near Sweetwater, and again, looking up at his image right now, the only way that we're going to see this is going to be when we see the lightning flash. But this system is showing signs of now trying to hook up. So we're now starting to see a little bit of a hook within this system on First Alert Doppler 3D, and it's going to be right here when you start to see that coming in, that appendage that's sticking out right here. Here's an inflow. Here's going to be the winds rushing towards Sweetwater. So we're watching this area very, very closely. This is where the tornado is going to be located, just over the state border here. And we are now into Oklahoma, Roger Mills County. When you see that red and that green there lining up, certainly looking at a very, very damaging wind threat and a tornado threat that is now, at this time, over fairly rural land, but this is someone's land. This is someone's property, and certainly we want to make sure that they have all the information they need as this storm is moving in. So tornado warning continues until 9:15 for Roger Mills County. Jonathan, that velocity there still supportive of this being tornadic.
Yeah, obviously you can see there's a decent area rotation, the gate to gate, just about 70 miles an hour, and this is going to be about 6 miles northwest of Sweetwater, getting very, very dark. One thing about this is that again, I think with the tornado being in there, it's dark, and it's also going to be rain wrapped. I don't think it's going to be very visual, and so one thing for sure, I don't think it's going to be on this storm. That other storm that came through Sayre, it was discrete. It was by itself. We could see the tornado with it. This one's kind of on a line, and it's likely going to be embedded and probably rain wrapped, what we call bear's cage.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the most dangerous time of all, is when, Jonathan, you get these type of tornado warnings, because now what you have to do is you have to either look for power flashes or you're looking at lightning. not every lightning strike that we're going to have that's going to illuminate the sky is going to give you the visual that you need. So go ahead and treat this as a very serious situation. We know the atmosphere and what it is capable of doing right now because we've already had a very large stovepipe tornado earlier in Sayre. This is a new storm. This is a separate storm. But when you see that red and that green just basically right up against each other, that is going to be that rotation. When you have the red, that's winds moving away from the radar. And when you have the green, that's winds moving toward the radar. So you basically have this circulation, this circle going like this, and that is going to be that rotation, that wrap that you need as we watch this tornado warning move up to the northeast. So tornado watch, this is an area that has a tornado watch until midnight, and that is how long the threat's going to last. Because even as we look on the other side here, going to Texas, you can see we have many other areas that look very similar to what we have in Oklahoma. So I would not be surprised, Jonathan, if we get 3 tornadoes out of this cluster of storms that goes from western Oklahoma and near Wheeler, Texas.
Oh, absolutely. So almost like a training effect with this line of storms with embedded circulations. And so we can't let our guard down. And I really kind of watch, we call this the southern storm typically has most of the really warm air being pulled into it. So imagine the winds are drawing into the storm right here. Even though the tornado warning is for the storm just to the north of Sweetwater, we also have to watch the storm a little bit further down the line. I know it's in the parts of Texas. One thing, though, something to think about, too, I know a lot of Oklahomans have friends and family that work on oil platforms out in that area just across the border. And so, again, we got to watch this real carefully. A lot of times on those oil rig platforms, they don't have shelters at all.
Yeah,
so.
and you're right. You know, I know Sweetwater, outside of Sweetwater, Oklahoma, it's a very popular area where there are many rigs. I know Chance Cold Iron, he has been out in this area many times before, and so he's told us just all the amount of drilling that's ongoing out there. And so this is a lot more populated than you might think now that once you start bringing in the rigs in here. So this is a very serious situation. We see plenty of inflow areas. Here's one area of inflow right here. Here's going to be another area of inflow, and then here's another area of inflow. All of this right here is moving to the east-northeast. It is moving into Oklahoma, and so from Mackey, Raiden, Cheyenne, Rose Hill, Dempsey, Sweetwater, all of these areas right here, at one point or another later tonight, you're likely going to be dealing with some type of circulation moving right overhead. This circulation is still very impressive within this. Now, Sweetwater, with this storm right here, you're going to be okay. But as we mentioned earlier, there's lots of other rotating parts of the storm that go west and southwest. And so Sweetwater, I don't want anyone in Sweetwater right now thinking, well, this rotation's a couple miles north. It's moving up to the northeast. We're okay. No, do not think that, because we have more parts of the storm that's rotating west and southwest that are still going to move up to the northeast. So I am right now treating as this having the potential to produce not 1, not 2, but up to perhaps 3 tornadoes, because here's one area of rotation, here's another area of rotation right here, and then here's another area of rotation. All of them are going to continue to move to the east-northeast, and with this tornado watch in effect until midnight, there's a reason why it's in effect until midnight. It's because the atmosphere across western Oklahoma is capable of producing tornadoes up until around then. So, again, we still see that velocity here still up around, we're doing some quick math up here, close to 90 miles per hour up in north or western Oklahoma here. That's enough to keep this rotation going strong. And again, moving up to the northeast. Now, there's also going to be some very strong straight line winds associated with this. So we're still getting reports of, looks like a wall cloud about 4 miles northwest of Sweetwater. So we're still getting reports of a wall cloud northwest of Sweetwater. The motion of this storm takes it up to the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. 20 miles per hour. You can see where Jeremy and Chance are in comparison. Now, if this were a sunny day, you'd have no problem at all seeing right into this. This is where that rotation is going to be, but it is cloudy. So when we look at Chance and Jeremy's picture, there's streams that are up right now on both Weather 7 and Weather 8. You can see that they're on the left-hand side of your television screen. We're looking closely for those lightning flashes, and you can see up there. This is going to be Chance, or this is going to be Jeremy. No, this is going to be Chance Cold Iron's image right here, and you can see that lowering whenever the lightning is flashing there. So Chance, we have his image up. We are watching it because every time we see that lightning flash, that's the only time we're likely going to see that lowering associated with this. But here is that one storm that produced a large tornado. This is a separate storm moving into an environment that is still very, very much supportive of producing tornadoes. And when you see that couplet right there, that right there is enough to trigger a tornado warning. So this puts it into Dempsey at 9:09. Dempsey, you have right now, it's about 8:46. Moving up to northeast at 20 miles per hour, puts it into town at about 9:09. That gives you about 20 minutes or so to start going into your tornado shelter. Jeremy Carter, correct? Is that who we have? Jeremy Carter. Hey, Jeremy, have you live right now on the phone. What are you seeing? Wow.
Well, I'm just west of Sweetwater, 1/2 mile, and if you look to your northwest, say probably 1.5 miles to my north, you got a large wall cloud. You can see it pretty clear in the lightning strikes. I ain't got no good service out here, so you're having a hard time getting my stream.
We've got it. We've got it
at this point.
Yeah, Jeremy, we have your stream. It looks great. It's very clear. And so, hey, let's hang on to this control room. I want to hang on to this right now. And when we get those lightning flashes, you can see that lowering right there. That we're going to have to continue to see if that continues to get even lower or lower. We're getting lightning flashes every couple seconds within this, but we still have at least a visual with this wall cloud. Again, this is going to be just north of Sweetwater, continuing to get some lightning flashes in here. And with each lightning flash, we're going to be able to get a better idea as to just what this storm is doing. If you look closely, there's still going to be a little bit of daylight. There you go right there. There's another lightning flash. Yeah, that's certainly a nice lowering with this storm. We are north of Sweetwater with this. We are north of Sweetwater looking up to the northeast. You know, Jonathan, one of the challenging things that we have at this time of the year is that the sun sets. Wow, look at that. The sun sets at about 8 o'clock. These storms can still continue until 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And the only visuals that we get is with lightning or power flashes. Very dangerous time of the evening.
Yeah, you can see the bowl there. That's the wall cloud. Kind of hard to tell if it's rotating, but look how low it is. Look at your frame of reference. When you get the lightning strike and it's backlit, look how low to the ground it is. So if that spins up and goes through tornadogenesis and produces a funnel, and that funnel kind of goes around the wall cloud, it doesn't have very long to touch down. It has very little time to touch down. So again, it's dark out. Our guys, when they're out there, Jeremy Carter and Chance Coldiron, Chance is just turning north now on Highway 30 out of Sweetwater. What they're going to look for, the funnel being backlit with the lightning strikes, which is going to be intermittent. It's going to be kind of hit and miss here. Not a lot of power lines out there. There's some power lines here and there. We may see some power flashes. Those are much more, those happen a lot more in populated areas like in Oklahoma City. Out there along Highway 30 north of Sweetwater, there may not be much. Again, very rural area there. So we now have Chance Coldiron. Chance, you're just coming out of Sweetwater. It looks like, are you going north on Highway 30 right now?
Yeah, I'm about 2.5 miles north of Sweetwater. We got a large wall cloud here. Hold on a second. I'm trying to get the truck turned here. Yeah, it's kind of ragged right now, but looks like it's trying to cycle again. It looked good there for a while on the way over here, and we got closer. It looked bad, but now it's starting to come back together. So we're going to track north along with this circulation and stay right with it. Back to you.
Hey, Chance, just so you know, with all the radar images that we've been looking at throughout the evening, this Sweetwater storm right now may be one of the best looking velocity couplets that we've seen throughout the night. So just want to let you know that this storm system is not anywhere close to basically weakening. I mean, this is a very, very powerful storm right now, and we have to watch your lightning strikes pretty closely. But you see that lowering right here with this storm. A lot of electricity within this, and we're going to have to watch. Wow, these lightning strikes are getting very, very close. Again, getting way too close. But it's going to be this lowering that we see right here, and on radar. Again, on radar, it is still very impressive as we continue to see this red and the green couplets of velocity is basically tightening up. So the mid-level winds, look at that, Jonathan. I mean, that is pretty powerful. Go ahead, do a query on that.
That might be a little range folding where we have the greens right next to the, right in there. That might be a little range folding with the radar, meaning the radar can't, the winds are so strong it can't quite sample. I think that's what we're getting.
Could be.
Right there, but we have to assume those are stronger outbound winds. Those are going to be really strong. I know I got technical with everybody there, but that is a very strong circulation just to the northwest of Sweetwater. I'm going to toggle this. You're looking at the velocities, folks. So these are basically the actual winds. That's the Doppler part of radar. So that's stronger now, gate-to-gate shear. So you have, 51 against 50, strong gate-to-gate shear. Watch, I'm going to toggle to reflectivity. Look at that inflow notch. That's getting a little bit of a hook there. Look at how big that is, that appendage coming down. So this storm is cycling. It's drawing in the drier air. It's moist, but it's going in because of circulation. It's tying that all in. Now let me show you where the chasers are at. They're just on the south side of it, looking to the north. The area of circulation just to the west of Highway 30 north of Sweetwater there. Let me go ahead and kind of look where it's at, exactly measure where it's at. Again, and that's a pretty tight area, 4 miles northwest of Sweetwater, and it's going to be about 2 miles west of Highway 30. So there it is, very tight area of circulation.
Yeah, this is certainly starting to wrap up by quite a bit here, and as we saw, this hook is now basically extending just pretty close down to Sweetwater. Again, getting pretty close to Sweetwater, much closer than it was before. We told you earlier, Sweetwater, just because the storm is north of you doesn't mean that we can't see at least the storm try to take a little bit of a different jog here. But if we let's go over to reflectivity, Jonathan, so I can show again just how this hook is now getting ready. It's going to clip. It's going to clip northern parts of Sweetwater here. You can see how basically it's kind of starting to wrap up to the northeast, but north of Sweetwater, especially right along State Highway 30, this is going to be that hook within this, and the velocity within this certainly is going to be one of the most impressive velocity images that we have seen all night. Lots of electricity within this. You can see where all the lightning is concentrated. So, okay, let's go to Chance Cold Iron, and we can see the lowering within this, and certainly there's a lot going on here. A lot of lightning within this. Looks like a couple lowerings. Is Chance available on the phone? Chance, I want to bring you in right now. Chance, what are you seeing?
You there, David?
Yeah, Chance, what are you seeing right now?
I'm at the same location. We still got a wall cloud here. The rain's trying to wrap around it, and as we saw this same storm out of Wheeler, it did that all evening long. It wrapping rain and make it really hard to see. We're going to try to stay north out in front of the rain to get a better view, but as of right now, I can't see anything on the ground. Just a pretty good lowering here. Back to you. All
right, Chance. Well, certainly that lowering is dangerous enough to give us a tornado warning. Again, a tornado warning continues, and this warning will expire in 23 minutes. It expires in 23 minutes. Storm still moving up to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. So we continue this tornado warning until 9:15. Again, 9:15. Also watching out for some very large hail getting within this, looking up, going to be up near ping pong ball size hail with this storm. So 25 miles per hour is the storm motion with this. But as we look here, you see plenty of lowerings. It's coming in from Jeremy Carter, north of Sweetwater, and it looks like the wall cloud's going to be, yeah, here you go right here. Lots of lightning within this, and so with every flash, you have a very, you have to look pretty quickly there. You have to look very quickly at the lowering and just whether or not we can see that tornado. But this is a very challenging time of the night when you get these tornado warnings that are now coming in after sun sets. Basically, the only time that you can see this is with the lightning, or if we see power flashes. Again, if we see power flashes. So, Jeremy, okay, so we have Jeremy on the phone now. Jeremy, hey, Jeremy, what are you seeing?
Well, I'm looking back. I'm in the same place. I'm seeing that lowering. It almost looks a little more crisp to me right now than it did last time we were on the phone. The rain's wrapping around it. I can only see it when the lightning just hits it just right. And, David, I'm going to be watching it here. If I see any power flashes, I'm going to be calling you.
All right, Jeremy, we appreciate it. Looks like we are still getting a report now, 1 mile, this coming in 1 mile east of, 1 mile north of Sweetwater. Looks like funnel coming down about 3/4 of the way. So just so you all know, and Jeremy and Chance, if y'all can hear us on the phone, this is one of the most impressive velocity signatures that we have seen, and why we are so concerned about looking at an image like this is because this allows us to see the winds inside of the thunderstorm, and it allows us to see that rotation. So Chance Cold Iron, we'll put up Chance Cold Iron's picture as well. Here is a rotation just near Sweetwater, and again, this coming in from Chance Cold Iron. Lots of lightning within this. Let's see here. I'm going to have to step away from the screen here just so I can see if we can see it lowering. It looks like every now and then you're seeing what appears to be a little bit of rotation there just in front of him. Chance, we have you live on the phone right now. Chance, what are you seeing?
Hey, Damon, I'm actually going to move a mile north. I got a lot of trees right in my way. We did have a big bowl funnel come. It was more than halfway to the ground, but now it's back behind these trees. So I'm going to reposition here and get a little closer and see if I can't see if it's on the ground. Back to you.
All right, yeah, and Chance, absolutely not surprised by your report by just looking at what he is saying, what he was seeing, and then certainly with what the velocity and what the radar is telling us inside of this storm. So the rotation continues to be very strong. Let's put a storm track on here, an updated storm track with this system. New information coming in as we've adjusted the speed here. This is going to be the track for the rotation. Dempsey 912, Cheyenne 944 against Cheyenne. While you are not officially in this tornado warning, certainly you need to treat this as you are, because as we look upstream with this storm, it's going to continue to produce a very dangerous situation, even for those that are outside of the tornado warning. You know, Jonathan, a lot of times we look at one or two thunderstorms. I think a lot of people out here get used to seeing these large supercells, and you have just one large tornado associated with that. But we also get these type of systems where you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. These are very difficult to do, especially this time of the night.
Absolutely. And the other thing, too, there's another area of circulation to the west of Sweetwater. There's two areas of circulation. The one about 3 miles northwest of Sweetwater, that's the one where Chance Cold Iron and Jeremy Carter are looking at. So Sweetwater, right there at the intersection of Highway 152 and 130, you can see Chance. He's just literally, he's probably in rain right now, right on the southern edge of the storm. Jeremy's a little bit farther back, so we got two sets of eyes right on the storm. But even back to the west, there's also another area of circulation. So even though Sweetwater, the tornado warning is just to your north, my concern is a little bit further back to the west in parts of Texas. There's another area of circulation. So, you know, look at this area, another little couplet about, let me give you exact distance. Sweetwater, back to the west, there's another couplet. It's not as strong, but about 8 miles back to the west-southwest. So there's a couple areas that we have to watch. And even though, you know, a lot of times we think sun sets, it comes a little bit cooler, the dynamics for this evening, the jet stream winds are still fairly strong, the low-level winds are still fairly strong, and I think those would trump the lack of maybe instability. The instability could be coming down right now, but the directional shear and the speed shear is still very good. You
know, Jonathan, and some new information that's just now coming in from the Storm Prediction Center, they send out these discussions about basically near term and what's happening right now. There's a possibility that they may extend the tornado watch a little farther into the Texas Panhandle here, because these storms are back building. They're going to continue to develop. So what that means for us here in Oklahoma is that we're still going to have these storms continue to build out to the west. That means another line of storms will likely impact us later into the evening. So right now, as we look here with our velocity here and sampling the winds and what we're seeing, again, velocity has come down, but still velocity is strong enough for us to have that tornado threat remain. So Jonathan, how far away are we from Dempsey now? This storm moving up to the northeast. Dempsey, I know we're going to be watching this pretty closely. About 5 miles away from the center of circulation with this storm. Sweetwater, right now, you're okay with this cluster of storms. Again, if you're in your tornado shelter, Sweetwater looks like this is going to just barely miss town by a couple miles, but looks like this is going to continue to stay up to the north. Right now, we're seeing the center of rotation right over Highway 30. Looks like another area of rotation, basically in the same spots that we have seen tornadoes developing throughout the evening. So the tornado threat right now is localized. I know there's an entire line of storms that we had that extends all the way up in towards northwestern Oklahoma, but the tornado threat is localized right now into this area of Oklahoma. So an updated storm track, brand new storm track, puts it into Dempsey now at 9:12, Cheyenne 9:44, and Strong City at 10 o'clock. This is going to be, once again, an area that is going to be, it's going to be a small area of tornadic concern for the evening, but as we go later into the night, the low-level jet stream is going to basically ramp up enough that we're going to see the tornado threat continue for basically right across western Oklahoma, between Beckham, Roger Mills, and up a little bit into Ellis County here. The hail core, especially with this, is still getting pretty big. We're still going to be in the area where we're still looking out for lime-size hail with this storm. So that's going to be 2-inch size hailstones within this. That can do certainly quite a bit of damage. So here we go right now. And Jonathan, if we put this into lapse mode here, this was that one tornado warning, that supercell that produced that large stovepipe tornado near Sayre. Notice how it is getting sucked into this section of storms right here. When that happens, certainly you know the rotation's pretty strong still.
Yeah, I imagine the line that goes from Strong City to Mackey back towards Sweetwater and then into parts of Texas near Wheeler and Twitty. That line, the inflow is maybe so strong, again, it's drawing in that other discrete storm that dropped the tornado southwest of Sayre. You can see in the time lapse, absolutely it's being drawn in. And one thing that's going to happen here during the overnight, we have a bit of a training effect. What does that mean? Storms moving over the exact same area. Now, boy, we sure do need the rain across parts of Oklahoma. We'll take everything that we can get. But for anybody who lives in northwestern Oklahoma tonight, be aware, I'd say if you're doing any traveling out of Woodward, let's say back west into the panhandles or south, be very aware, could have some localized flash flooding. Some of the low-lying areas, I don't want to drive through any of that. If you have any stream crossings or river crossings, be aware if there's any water over the roadway. Number one severe weather killer, actually, flash flooding, something we have to watch. And I know parts of that area, for example, up near Freedom, Oklahoma, they've already had about 2 inches of rain tonight.
2 inches of rain. Yeah, this is a part of the state that does not drain a whole lot of water very quickly. Now, the lakes are going to love this, and this is going to help us out. But still, with all the storms moving in, anyone traveling in this part of the state overnight, still got to watch out. You're going to be coming up on some areas where there's going to be a lot of water rushing across the roads. I know there are not a lot of street lights out in this part of the state, so you really don't see it until you're right overhead. So keep that in mind if you must travel this evening, but still finding that rotation right over 30 now going east of Highway 30. This is getting even closer now to Dempsey. It is currently 9:03. It is currently 9:03, and so Dempsey, you're headed into your tornado shelter right now. I want to put up Chance Cold Iron Stream because every now and then I see what appears to be a pretty good lowering with this storm. He's going to be on Weather 7. Like if we go over to Weather 7, looking at the lowering, it's going to be right here. See it? Yeah, there it is right there. This coming in from Chance Cold Iron. This is going to be part of that wall cloud that's going to be associated with this storm, and so that's an impressive lowering that we have with this right now. We can get Chance Cold Iron on the phone. Want to bring him into the conversation because Chance, I know he's been watching this pretty closely, but every lightning strike that we see, we can see that wall cloud, and there it is right there. Chance Cold Iron, we have you live on the phone right now. Hey, Chance, how's that cloud looking in front of you?
Hey, David, this lowering is still here. I'm 5 miles west of Dempsey on State Highway 30. Where exactly would you put the rotation? Our radar's kind of locked up right now without service. I kind of like to get an answer from you about that.
All right, Chance. Well, yeah, let's keep this picture up. And let's put a storm track in on this here because I want to. This is probably one of the best images that we have seen on this storm right here, and certainly Chance is very close, but there is that wall cloud that's rotating within this storm just north of Sweetwater. So, yeah, you can see Chance's placement there on the storm right along State Highway 30, and that rotation is moving right over. So let's put a storm track and track this into Dempsey there, Jonathan, because now we're getting pretty close to the community of Dempsey here. Now we're going to be about 9:17. That gives us about 10 minutes. It's probably going to be an update now coming in. But I'd say, Dempsey, you are in your tornado shelter right now with this, because you know what? With each lightning strike, you know, it looks like this might be lowering even more so. When you see that the red and the green right next to each other, that is going to indicate a lot of rotation within this storm. And so we're looking at this right here, and I tell you what, that looks even lower now than it did even earlier. Jonathan.
If we can get Chance on the phone, I know he's on hold. We're going to plot him up. Chance asked a question. He said, Jonathan and Damon, where's the area of circulation? So here's the deal, Chance. Circulation, the couplet, is going to be about a mile to 2 miles due east of you. And so we have you on the phone right now. That looks like a cone.
That might
Chance.
that might be on the ground.
Bring it.
It's coming down.
Chance.
Hey, Jonathan, are you there?
Yeah, that looks like it's on the ground.
I do not see any power flashes because we're out here in the rural area, but it's very close to the ground. I'm kind of hesitant to call it a tornado because we got a hill and a few trees in front of us, but it's very close to the ground. So I would say
Look at that.
people need to be on their guard on this storm.
That right there, you know what, if that's not on the ground, it is very close. And if it's very close, I'm treating it like it's on the ground, because this system basically went from the cloud was about here, the base of it, now it's down to here. That means it is getting stronger. And yeah, this is certainly starting to wrap up. So this tornado threat is still very real, Jonathan.
Is Chance looking to the east? That's one thing I want to ask him. So the Chance is stationary at Highway 30. Let's plot him back up. Chance, you're listening right now. We see your stream. I see the cone.
They can bring it to me.
Yeah. So we're live on air with Chance Cold Iron. Chance, you're looking to the east off of Highway 30, right?
No, Jonathan, I'm looking back to the west.
You are. So we have.
Yeah, I'm looking right back to the west.
You're looking back to the west. So there's a couple areas of circulation. Are you looking more west or southwest, Chance?
Just a hair south of west.
A hair south of west. So what we have here, Damon, we have two